It's time for the latest from Germany's domestic football league, the Bundesliga. And for that, we are joined by DW sports correspondent Chris Harrington from our partner station Deutsche Welle in Berlin. Now, Chris, before we talk about the Bundesliga season kicking off, was there any results in the German Cup that stood out to you? I think a new Chelsea boys' old team did pretty well there.
Yeah, well, most results were as expected. The Bundesliga clubs won by a big margin. Gladbach netted 8 goals past their opposition thanks to Patrick Herrmann and Florian Neuhaus. Leverkusen netted 8. I guess you're hinting at Leverkusen, right? Leverkusen netted 8. Nadim Amiri, had a boot in the majority of those goals. But one Bundesliga club stood out, defeated. Hertha Berlin, the capital club. They were unable to get past Braunschweig. Braunschweig is a team that just got promoted to the second division. Okay, so that's a bad look. They were victorious thanks to a hat trick from a Polish player, Kobylanski, and netted a hat trick. And it wasn't the only hat trick, after the first round. We have Jean-Philippe Metata. He had a hat trick, as well as Sabrini from Paderborn. So we have Mainz, Paderborn, and even, Braunschweig all leading the goal category right now. And tonight we have Dortmund in action against the lower division side, Duisburg and Bayern, against Duren tomorrow night. I don't think we'll see any hiccups, with those two matches. But all in all, it was a bit better this season than last season. Last season, we saw even more clubs ejected after the first round. Mainz, Augsburg, and then a recently demoted Hanover all got booted out of the first round. So it looks like business as usual, aside from that hiccup with Hertha Berlin.
Well, there's still a long way to go in the German Cup before a winner is crowned. Now, ahead of the Bundesliga kicking off this weekend, which German teams do you think did the best transfer business, or at least so far?
Well, you have to applaud what Bayern managed to do in getting Sané finally, in a Bayern jersey. It's a big deal. Obviously, the only thing Bayern can do, they reached their ceiling. Only thing they can do is repeat. Right? Their cushion last season was 13 points. So that brings me to Dortmund. Dortmund is going to have to make up that difference, assuming they do finish second once again. Dortmund, they spent the most of the money on Jude Bellingham. I like him, and I really like what the coach, Lucien Favre, has said about the 17-year-old. He says he's mature beyond his years, and age is only a number. When he looks at him, he doesn't even look at his birth date, to get discouraged in that sense. So he's a young piece. Thomas Meunier, also from PSG, adding with Dortmund. And then the young 15-year-old kid, Moukoko. I'm really waiting to see his debut because he should make that in the first half of the season. For Dortmund to squeeze and get within that 13 points, they're going to have to obviously seize their moments. They still have Jadon Sancho, which is a huge plus for them. Marco Reus is healthy, and obviously he's not a transfer, but still nonetheless, with Sancho not leaving, and that's helpful. I think more clubs have been hurt rather than helped. You mentioned Leverkusen. Leverkusen's Kai Havertz and Kevin Folland both left Leverkusen. I mean, that's more than 20 goals of production leaving. Timo Werner leaving Leipzig, is a blow as well. And those are two teams. Well, Leipzig, they finished third last season. It'll be a struggle for them to get back in the Champions League, I think, despite having Julian Nagelsmann call the shots as the mastermind coach. Leverkusen, they missed out last year, missing a lot of that offense. I don't know. I think that's the biggest gap, and that's one team I'll be watching closely because I think that they've hurt themselves the most.
Now, before we get to Bayern, when it comes to Leverkusen, in your estimation, do you use the chunk of that money that they received on just replacing a guy like Kai Havertz, or do you use it to just strengthen the team as a whole?
I think Kai Havertz, this is a once in a lifetime. He's a generational talent, and they do have a lot of pieces, and what comes out of their camp is the idea that Kai Havertz and Folland, they had the majority of the production. They have a lot of other talented players as well. This will be an opportunity for them just to make a bigger name for themselves. Nadim Amiri, even for the younger German side, he's stellar. He's a stellar midfielder. I think he is a strong weapon, a bit more seasoning, for him to be obviously at the level of, a world class or top class within the Bundesliga, but it's hard to say. I think the biggest challenge is getting top talent to stay. You're not going to land a top talented player. You're just going to get, a player trying to develop himself to get to that next level, a la Leon Bailey. Leon Bailey, at Leverkusen for that particular reason, to kind of try to get to that next level. He's been missing in action lately. Hopefully he does contribute, some good production this year because he's been hit or miss lately.
So now with Bayern, they will host Schalke on the 18th. Are you expecting Bayern to just continue on the path that they've laid out previously now in this past season and just keep the steam rolling on their competition?
Of course, I expect them to keep the steam rolling, and they couldn't ask for a better opponent in Schalke. Okay, Schalke's a team that stuttered, struggled. They're happy to even financially stay afloat right now. They have a lot of problems over there. Bayern, on the other hand, their mentality is, their biggest and most powerful weapon. They own a handful of match day one records, the most wins, most goals. I mean, match day one is pretty much Bayern day in the Bundesliga. And then they're the tip of their spear, Robert Lewandowski, who missed out on the Ballon d'Or. He thinks he should have won it. So do I, as do a lot of other pundits around the world. He has the most match day goals with 9. I do think, that's his jersey number. Nice fitting stat right there. I do expect him to get in the double digits. He'll be looking to do so. And then you have a lot of former Schalke players, Leon Goretzka, Sané, and Alexander Nubel also. I think this will be a walk in the park for Bayern. And I think, I think they'll win by a landslide, honestly.
Now, last but not least, we always ask Chris, has anything else hit your radar recently?
Well, a few things to touch on. Thiago's been going back and forth, there's rumors, and things like this. Well, Uli Hoeneß, the former president, was talking about how Thiago turned down a contract he was offered. And that pretty much opened up this possibility that he would depart. So we could see the Spaniard leave to actually go to Liverpool or even Man United. David Alaba, Bayern player, Uli Hoeneß again. And I think that a lot of people at Bayern agree with this, but David Alaba's agent, has been called greedy, a greedy piranha and shark. And so is his father, and maybe talking, to him, trying to convince him to push the envelope and maybe try to leave and face a new challenge. We have to see if those things happen. But I did talk about Man United and Thiago. Well, Man United, it came out that they're not going to spend the money that Dortmund want for Jadon Sancho. I think that's sad to see because I know Jadon Sancho. I've heard from his camp as well. The people I have on the inside have said that he wants to go and he's ready to go. So that'll be a thing to watch for, to see how much intensity he brings to the pitch. Because if he looks lackluster, obviously moving forward, that does hurt his stock, value.
Definitely. We'll keep an eye on that one. And I did see the Dortmund coach do an interview recently where he seemed to reiterate that Sancho is staying. So it should be interesting to see how he performs this season, particularly alongside such other world-class young talent. But as usual, thank you very much for the Bundesliga update, Mr. Chris Harrington, DW Sports correspondent from our partner station Deutsche Welle in Berlin, Germany. Have a great day.
You as well, man.